I'm thinking I had one other thing,
Okay.
but give me
Yeah, sure.
a second because I was thinking about it this morning. It's to do with movies, of course. um, well, I'll just read this. You don't have to like put the quote in here,
Mm-hmm.
but and I don't even know who said it. I just wrote it down. But the quote is, maybe what we need now is another movie revolution, a return to the idea that they can be the lifeblood. It's become trendy to say that we're now going to watch movies turn into the equivalent of theater, books, or something else that's still vital but less culturally dominant. And so I mentioned that just because I've always thought of movies as being like culturally dominant, and they more or less have been. And the idea that they now might not be anymore or are slowly becoming less relevant um, kind of makes me sad.
Mm.
If that's true or not, I don't know. I feel like we are at this place where it could happen, it could not. Like it's hard to say. We don't know yet. You know, there's still so much like we're in the middle of all this change happening with everything and technology, like how you watch stuff and streaming stuff, and you know everything is a little bit more about money now than the art side of it, I guess, or the artistic side in a way. So I don't know, but I wanted to just put that out there as something that I hope we don't see movies start to become like theater or books or that kind of
Or
stuff.
classic art, which really isn't a thing anymore.
Right.
It's such a niche thing, but
Right.
it's not. It was number one form of
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe also, that's just the way it goes. Everything runs in phases and cycles. And, maybe in like another 100 years when we're not here, movies will be kind of a thing of the past and it'll be something else, but, um, yeah, it's just kind of interesting to think about that sometimes. Like, imagine if we were in the middle of like the 70s or the 80s, and instead of like now, and we were surrounded by like, The Godfather and those guys like doing those things and stuff. Again, though, it's like, how much can you like notice that and take that in the
Yeah,
moment
right.
versus like how much of it is like hindsight. So sometimes, yeah, I don't know. I don't wish we were back there. I'm fine, being here now, but it's on my mind a little bit sometimes. Like, hey, where's this kind of going? I hope it's not heading in this direction of becoming less relevant.
Well, I know what you mean, and I agree with you, and I share the same fears.
Mm,
And a lot of my friends are, and every day I live, I see it kind of downgrade more and more.
mm-hmm.
Um, or we either basically adapt and find something new, transition into something else,
Yeah.
and we're fine with it, like the shows and the renaissance of the shows. And maybe I should just shut up, kind of, and enjoy this, and and kind of embrace the beauty of the shows. There are definitely a lot of shows there that are reaching the artistry levels that have never been, that were not a thing of the in the past.
Yeah.
In the last 20, 25 years, it's definitely been, there's a definitely a renaissance. And maybe that'll be a norm for a while. And maybe movies that are last like an hour and a half, 2 hour movies
Hmm.
will be actually obsolete. Um, and maybe we just adapt to it and we enjoy it while that lasts.
Yeah.
Who knows how long that's gonna last?
Right.
Because in the age of TikTok, of a 30-second or 30 seconds even like luxury, like 10-second,
Yeah.
uh, 20-second videos that people watch and enjoy.
Yeah.
It's we definitely sound more obsolete.
Who knows? It might be like one day going to see a movie in the theater is going to be like what the equivalent of like the opera is now, or
Yeah,
the ballet, like a huge one-time event only for very specific people that are aware of it and fans of it.
Well, I don't want to really bring it up too much because that's a whole nother can of worms. But the last almost 2 years, year and a half, really showed us that we can easily live without movies in theaters, right?
Yeah.
And some people have forgotten how to go to movies because I've gotten used to not going to the movies. Like I'm like fine with it, I guess. Like movie theaters are open again, but I don't feel like going to the movies. Like I don't have that. Like it's almost not an option for entertainment anymore.
Yeah.
Like even for someone like me, like I've gone to movies since we have opened up, but um, but I don't. It's not like a lot of those movies are available. I just saw Halloween Kills. You can watch on Peacock, like
Oh yeah.
in like 2 weeks or something like that.
Jeez.
And the same with wasn't it the James Bond movie you can see or something or no or
I'm not sure.
no,
No.
the Sopranos movie you can already see on HBO.
Yeah.
Like no point in
That's
seeing it in theaters. Like
no.
all of this stuff, it's just not. I don't know. It's weird. All I say it's weird. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it yet, but
Yeah.
it's a little weird.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll just say to that point, and you're right, it is like a whole other can of worms.
Yeah,
So maybe
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's part two.
yeah, for sure.
But just a quick funny, not funny, but just a little example of how uh, the theater, of course, makes a difference, right? But um, when I was working on Joker, we had the ability to stream to our phone the takes that
Hmm.
were happening. And so, of course, for the stunt stuff, that's particularly useful because I can just stand there and watch it. And, I'm with my boss and then we say, okay, that's not working. We go change something or whatever. Right. But I would tune in and just look at other takes and random stuff happening, even if it wasn't stunt related. And so, of course, it's a phone, it's quite small. And I'm just watching this and thinking, like, okay, like, looks cool. Like, I'm sure it'll be a little different. And, they're going to give it color and music and all this stuff, for the theatrical release. And, but I never felt much from it, right? Just watching it. And in fact, I was like, I wonder how this is all going to come together. And then seeing it in the theater, and I remember specifically seeing like some shots that I remember like watching, on my phone, like when they were doing it. And you got the big screen, you got the sound, you got everything. It's dark, and it really made it impactful and great, and way more so than it would ever have been, I think, on my phone, on an airplane, like TV, even on a laptop. And this is all like kind of obvious in a way, like that's what the theater is there for, and that's what it's supposed to be and do, right? And create. But yeah, I realized when um, Todd Phillips, the director, when he was doing it and thinking of stuff, and all the other people on the crew were thinking of it for like on the big screen, right? This is how people are really going to see this movie. Like it's not going to go straight to Netflix or straight to your phone or whatever. And I think that's probably how Nolan thinks, and Tarantino and Ridley Scott. Like this is, yeah, I'm seeing it like this right now in my mind, like looking at you and looking at whatever, but people are going to watch it on like a big screen. So thinking like that, right, and having that as like your canvas that you're painting with in your mind, so to speak, um, is great. That's amazingly a big space to work with, and the amount of power that you can create and the effect that you can create with all that, I think is great and amazing. And to think that it might be going away, or to think that we're okay with the 50-inch TV instead of like however big the dimensions of a movie screen are, or IMAX or whatever, right? It is a little worrisome, and it may not worrisome, but a little disheartening, I guess, because it is a great experience going to the movies, and to see that, like you say, a lot of people were okay with not doing that, even myself too. Like it's not like I just stopped watching stuff, I just pivoted and looked at it on my computer or my TV. So I really hope that things kind of head a bit back in that direction, and that this whole last 2 years or so was like a good kind of experiment in a way of seeing how the streaming stuff could actually really pan out. And no, let's make sure we keep theaters around, give it the time that it deserves there. And so yeah, I'm sort of just rambling, but
I know what you're saying, and I agree and share the same fears.
mm,
Uh, in my experience, what I notice is that comfort overcomes, like, prevails.
mm-hmm,
Comfort over quality,
mm,
and um, that's just the reality we live in. And the biggest example for me is what's happening in music, and not just industry, but also the perception of music and how we listen to it
mm-hmm,
has changed a lot. And the simplest example is where it's universally accepted now. I was like always into music, right? And the one simple thing was always I never wanted Bluetooth headphones
uh,
because the quality is lessened.
yeah,
Well, if you listen to like lossless format, which people don't even know what that means anymore,
mm,
but you used to be able to download lossless, which is like not MP3. It's WAV format,
oh
or
yeah,
the format where it's there's no loss in quality,
mm-hmm,
right? And some people can hear it, right? And I used to believe, and I still believe it, but I could tell a difference. Especially I used to be into rock and more complex music. When you have a lot more instruments, you can really hear the difference.
yeah,
Like, in fact, if you just download like a pop song and you download a metal song with the same length, it'll weigh different. It'll be different amount of megabytes. It's just that's just the reality of these things. Like, it's real because there's more stuff going on there.
yeah,
So, which means that you need better equipment to listen to this kind of music. So these are real things. Um, and I'm not saying it's better music. That's not what I'm saying, but it's different. And the fact that, you know, as I said, like, I used to always hardwire my headphones. But the fact that you don't even have uh, like a headphones jack in your phone,
right,
right? And
right,
like someone like Apple, uh, they don't provide you with. There's no headphones that are hard, that are wired headphones.
mm-hmm,
No, they officially promote just wireless headphones because they're so much more comfy, and they tell you, no, this is what you really want.
right,
This is the standard. Forget about the quality. That's not even mentioned anymore. Nobody even knows that's a real thing.
yeah,
That says a lot about the culture and how we do this. And guess what? I use wireless headphones now. I use wireless headphones in my car.
right,
Didn't not headphones. I'm sorry, but I used to when I first got my car. I used to always connect it to the auxiliary, but
mm-hmm,
no, no. But now I don't. I don't.
yeah,
You know what? It's fine. It's
yeah,
good enough.
yeah,
And that's just it's you kind of bend to these things, and the same with the phone. And the way I watched a lot of films on my phone
mm-hmm,
throughout my college years, I would just pop a bunch of movies on my phone and just watch them on the road because,
yeah,
well, guess what? I spent 2-3 hours a day on a train going to college, on the back to work.
yeah,
I can watch a lot of films there. What's more important, to watch them at home with great sound on a big TV, which I actually didn't really have. I had a decent TV, but not great sound per se,
yeah,
or watch them in theaters, or should I just watch the content and watch it on my phone? I'll just watch it on my phone.
yeah,
So, and that's happens all around. I'm a filmmaker, and I, just kind of are becoming a slave to these,
yeah,
things or these comforts. Uh, so it's going to be a tougher and tougher sell in the future.
yeah,
What you're saying, like you have to go to a movie theater to see it. I'm a filmmaker and I don't do it. You
mm-hmm,
know, so, but I know what you mean. I
yeah,
do know what you mean. This is just we'll see what's gonna happen.
yeah. This could all just be like the way things go.
Right,
Like
right.
there used to only be the movies, right? There wasn't even like videos or VHS, and then that comes along, and then it's like DVDs and blah blah blah. So this whole evolution is still ongoing. And I also sometimes think, well, maybe we're just clinging, or I'm clinging to the past a little more than others are, or who knows, right? You just kind of have to, I guess, again, just be open to it.
Yeah, I feel like also filmmakers have always been very like they consider their craft very sacred, so they've been very wary of all kinds of
Hmm.
changes. Like if you think about it, when the first walkies came around,
Mm.
people are, oh, this is the death of cinema,
Right.
right? You know about this, like this, we were afraid that sound is going to mess it up,
Yeah. Yeah.
which it did, but it also brought something else. It brought another dimension, right?
Yeah.
Now, when the Technicolor came around and we started having the color films instead of black and white films, people were, oh, this is death of cinema once again. And we did forget about some craft, even like some of the craft is where, different colors look different, a different shade of gray,
Yeah.
right? So the movies, all the production design, idea of production design changed. You were actually, oh, you know what? I can actually just do it on, I can forget the knowledge of the which color is associated with which shade of gray, because that was a whole thing,
Hmm.
a whole like department basically, um, that had to deal with that. That could have been forgotten after a certain time. People don't even study this; they don't know this.
Yeah.
The same with digital, and the same with when things turn digital, and it's kind of still happening. The type, all the gaffing techniques,
Hmm.
and all so much stuff that's been, or editing. Once one woman to non-linear editing, all these things we didn't filmmakers didn't take easy. They were always complaining and saying, no,
Yeah.
this is not right, this is terrible, this is that, this that. But then,
Right.
so we'll see, maybe this is just another things that's going to change, but not necessarily kill us.
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah. There's something to be said about embracing the change,
Embracing the
right?
change, yeah,
As
for
opposed
sure.
to thinking of it as like, this is going to destroy
Right.
you or
Yeah,
destroy the stuff. It's like, okay, well, what if you took the glass half full
exactly.
viewpoint, which is like, well, it's here, it's happening. How do we embrace it?
Yeah,
How can we make it work for us? And there's ways, there's definitely ways we're seeing it now, and maybe we talk more about that in part two.
for sure.